told that they had 2,000 birds and they went to sleep. By the next day they came, their poultry was flooded, and all 2,000 birds died. All 2,000. And that's millions. Aye, millions down the drain. Or somebody that would say that they planted and it's almost harvest season and their farm got flooded. That's millions down the drain. You have to have resilient mind to be able to survive that. You definitely need a resilient mind to be able to survive that. So, what are some of when we talk about building resilient mind in our culture, the first thing you need to have is that, first of all, the resilient mind in our culture, that resilient mind needs to embrace uncertainty. You have to embrace uncertainty. It's a necessity. It's a necessity. The world changes quickly, and resilient people adapt faster. They do not wait for conditions to be perfect before they act. They do not wait for opportunity. You have to just embrace uncertainty. The next is that they solve problems. If you really want to be resilient in your cultural practice, you have to be a problem solver. In fact, in any occupation or any business or in any career, you definitely need to become a problem solver. You definitely need to become a problem solver for you to make the most, for you to be able to make the most, excuse me, for you to be able to make the most out of that profession or out of that career. You have to be a problem solver. Successful people ask what problems need solving, not where can I find a job. It's okay to have a job actually, but even within your job, there'll be challenges, right? Like I said earlier, when we started out this conversation today, I said to you that every problem or every challenge in itself is an opportunity in disguise. I think it was Bishop Yehubo that said, um, opportunity disguise looking like work. There's a way he coined that quote too. Well, it's something along the lines that sometimes opportunity disguises at work as work. So most people will just ignore them, but that's an opportunity, but they ignore it because it comes in the clothing of work. Like you have to, be diligent about something to be able to sort of access it, right? So this single shift in thinking changes everything about how you approach, your work or your career, particularly in this context of agriculture. Remember, we're talking about building resilience in agricultural practice. You have to be a problem solver. The next thing, you have to be someone that is a continuous learner. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was World Economic Forum. Yeah, I think it was World Economic Forum reports. I'm not sure if it's 2025 or 2026 that talks about, and they talked about one of the key top 10 skills for 2026 or 2025 to 2030 was going to be continuous learning. So it's a skill now. Like you don't have a choice. Just being like a voracious reader or learner, it's something that's going to help you. So even in agricultural practice, right? You have to be willing to be given to knowledge, given to regardless of the practice that you're in or the profession or the career that you're in. This also comes in handy. So don't think of it that because it's agriculture, you could go get away with it. No. Today's degree is tomorrow's starting point. Learning never ends. The most valuable professionals are those who treat every experience as a classroom. Take note of that line. The most valuable professionals are those who treat every experience as a classroom. Think about that. So the next thing for you to be able to build a resilient mind is that you have to build before you are ready. Is you have to build before you're ready. So what does this look like? Perfection delays progress. Progress creates mastery, right? The people who move forward are those who start before they feel completely prepared, right? You just have to start out and you keep, in business you hear people talk about iterations, right? Iterations simply speaks to the fact that you're making um requisite changes. It speaks to the fact that you're making requisite changes as you go. You're making requisite changes as you go. So you have to be willing to build before you're ready. Just start and you start making progress, you iterate. I think it was Zuckerberg that talked about the fact that ideas does not come fully formed. As you start it, you then discover that, oh, I think we need to change this process. I think we need to do it like this. We need to do this. We need to do this. But if you don't start, you wouldn't have the opportunity to be able to make those changes, right? A person that has a resilient mind or being resilient in agricultural practice is that understand that you fail forward. So what does this look like? Failure becomes feedback. Even in NLP, which is neuro linguistic practitioner, yes, which I am a practitioner of it, is that I was taught is the body of work in psychology. That we're taught that nothing means anything except the meaning you ascribe to it, and that failure is simply feedback. And that's true, right? In any career, not just agriculture, this will also come in very handy to you. You must understand that failure is feedback. Every entrepreneur experiences setback, right? Resilience means continuing despite them and extracting the lessons along the way from each of the setbacks. You have to be able to extract the lessons. You have to be able to extract the lessons, regardless of what it is that, simply seems as a problem. As you observe and look at it, there's always a silver lining. You might not be able to see it at first, but as you critically examine it, you'd be able to see that. So even within agricultural practice, there's also that need for you to be resilient in your mind. Yeah, you have to. You have to be resilient in your mind. And the next is you think long term, right? Building resilience in the practice, you have to think long term, not just short term, not just for today, not just for 6 months, not just for 1 year, 5 years. You have duration, right? But think about the long haul. And so what are the similar little steps you can take that will help you get there? Many people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10. Patience and consistency compounds over time. Remember, I told you guys that one of the greatest capital that agriculture requires of you, as much as it requires like financials, like there's also patience capital. So regardless of what it is, so when you think long term as well, there's also that need for patience and consistency. I think it was Warren Buffett that talked about the fact that you can't make a baby in 1 month by impregnating 9 women. You can't make a baby in 1 month by impregnating 9 women. Each of them are still going to go through the normal gestation period of 9 months, right? So you can't say, oh, I want the process to be fast, and you then go and impregnate 9 women and say within a month you have a baby. No. So the same thing as well, building resilience, you need to understand that there's the need to be forward minded, think long term. There's the need for that. There's the need to think long term for that. I have a question here to just ask. It says, write down one challenge you've experienced, right? And what you did, and what that whole challenge taught you, and how has it made you stronger. Remember, every setback contains a lesson. Every setback in itself contains a lesson, right? So, building a career beyond farming. When we talk about it, I think I keep saying it that this conversation we're having today is building resilience in agricultural practice, right? And like I said when I started out, is for you to be resilient, you have to be fully convinced about what it is that you're about. You have to be fully persuaded. As I've said, persuaded, I'm reminded about Abraham in the Bible. You know, Scripture talking about Abraham says, "Who against hope believe in hope?" Because he was fully persuaded. So in building resilience, whether it's in agriculture or any field, but this our conversation today is about agriculture. You have to have conviction. You have to have resilience. And so building a career beyond just farming, right? What are some of the things you have to be cognizant of? The future belongs to a portfolio career. You may be You may become a consultant, a researcher, a podcaster, an investor, a startup founder, a sustainability manager, a policy advisor, a product manager, an educator, or even a digital content creator, all connected to agriculture. The key is to identify the problem you want to solve and then build around it. Your starting point is to identify the problem you want to solve and then build around it. So, what are some of the things you must ask yourself? Four career questions. These four questions from the foundation of agricultural entrepreneurship. Walk through them in this order. Each of them builds upon the other. What problem interests you the most? What's from your observation within the field, within the 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 agricultural ecosystem? What problems interest you the most? That's number one. The second one is, please do ensure you answer the first question before you move to the second, right? The second one is, who experiences those problems? So who are the people that this problem majorly affects the most? Who are these people? Who? Then you see that, like I said earlier, when we're having this conversation, that technology is an enabler. You see that we didn't start out with the technology part of, the solution, right? Technology simply helps to scale and amplify already deciphered solutions. Can technology improve it? So what's this improvement? Can it make it bigger, grander, better? Right? So can technology improve it? Can you build a business around 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 it? This is a four important question you want to ask yourself. Four important question. Remember, building beyond farming. I talked a lot much more about this in my book Agriculture Beyond Farming, right? Building beyond farming. What problems interest you the most? Who experiences this problem? Can technology improve it? And can you build a business out of it? Can you build a business out of it? So, within your lifetime as an agricultural practitioner, right? You would have several portfolios. So don't feel the need to allow yourself be boxed. You'd have by several people, I mean that within the career path, there would have been several what's the word now? You'd have gone through several phases and stages, right? Some of which will include consulting for agribusiness, research in crop science or food system, hosting agricultural podcasts and newsletter, investing early in an agri-tech startup, founding a company that solves a specific problem, uh, managing sustainability programs for corporate, advising governments on agricultural policy, building digital products for farmers, educating the next generation, and creating content that shapes the narrative. So you see, there's so much work to be done. So much work beyond just in agriculture. There's so much work beyond just cultivation of the land and rearing of animals. I hope you're getting value from this session today. Please feel free to ask your questions, drop your questions in the chat, and I will definitely take the questions after the session. And for those that have joined us, thank you so much for being here with us today. All right. Why the ecosystem and the network matters, right? Because, see, let me tell you, one of the things I've also realized in my life's journey is, as you are going off or you have chosen